The close games that Jim McElwain has been winning at a great rate over his 2+ years at Florida got a notch in the bad column on Saturday as his Florida Gators fell to LSU 17-16 in front of a frenzied crowd in the Swamp Saturday. McElwain's record at Florida in games decided by a touchdown or less now stands at 92. And this one could be costly. A lot will be made over the next week about the missed extra point by kicker Eddy Pineiro that was the difference in the final score, but this game was lost throughout the contest with a defense that couldn't stop third downs in the first half and an offense that couldn't convert third downs in the first 30 minutes of the game. Florida converted just 2 of 9 third downs in the contest while LSU was 6 of 14 with all 6 of theirs coming in the opening half of play. I think that when we go back, I think we're going to find out really the difference in the game was third downs, McElwain would say following the game. I mean, you guys saw. There's no denying that at all. It was a hard-fought contest. Florida had plenty of strong moments in the contest. The second half defense was really strong after giving up the opening drive for a touchdown that had a questionable decision from the refs on a 45-yard pass play. The offense, as it has on the last few games, seemed to make some halftime adjustments and scored touchdowns on the opening 2 drives of the third quarter. They played hard, McElwain said. Gave ourselves an opportunity to win the game, and we ended up not winning. Again, credit to them for controlling it there at the end and winning. That's life in the SEC. It was a hard pill to swallow in the locker room for a team that expected to win Saturday in the Swamp. For our guys, for this Gator team, it hurts, he said. Guys are hurting in the locker room, and they should hurt. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. The disappointing thing is obviously not holding serve at home. Our fans were great. They were in the game the whole time, and my hat's off to them as well. Well, just keep growing. Injuries. Florida continues to get an injury here and an injury there, and the numbers are starting to add up. With 9 players suspended, quarterback Luke Del Rio is out for the year as is safety Marcel Harris. Receiver Tyree Cleveland and defensive tackle Kyrie Campbell missed the game and could miss more recovering from injuries. You expect some bangs and bruises after a game with LSU and both sides had them. Starting safety Chauncey Gardner was hurt but returned. He spoke to the media afterward and seemed okay. Special teams ace Garrett Stevens went down while covering a punt and had what looked like a devastating knee injury. Speedy wide receiver Kadarius Toney was banged up as well but played on. Starting left guard Brett Heggie got hit in the head and didn't play in the second half. Starting safety Nick Washington hurt his shoulder again trying to make a tackle early in the second half. Linebacker Jeremiah Moon also had to leave with an ankle injury. Injury-wise, Chauncey's right ankle, McElwain said. We have to see how that kind of works out. He finished. To his credit, Garrett Stevens will be out with that knee. Causes some issues in the special teams as far as moving some guys around at that juncture. Kadarius Toney had a shoulder and a shin. Wasn't quite himself there at the end. To his credit, he wanted to go, and that's really good thing. Obviously Nick Washington was out with that shoulder. Brett Heggie came in at halftime and, concussion protocol. He was out the second half, so Tyler played over there at guard throughout the game with that. Jeremiah Moon, an ankle as well. With all the guys that are out, this team needs as many of these players that can play today so this week. This will be interesting because after a loss, little nicks, injuries, things like that, some things take longer to heal, and we don't have the time to let it heal. If we've got guys that can go, they've got to go. The Florida running game was pretty stout. Malik Davis 90 yards 6.4 per carry and Lamical Perrin 70 yards 5.8 per carry ran hard and the Gators were able to lean on them. Kadarius Toney 52 yards 8.7 yards per carry seems to be able to make something out of nothing every time he touches the ball. The Florida defense held the LSU running backs at bay. Darius Geese 53 yards 2.9 per carry and Darrell Williams 35 yards 2.9 per carry were well under their averages. Franks made some really strong throws to the outside at receivers on some occasions. I've got to tell you I had goosebumps when they played Tom Petty's I Want Back Down after We Are the Boys between the third and fourth quarter. The crowd got into it and it was great. The receivers didn't get open. It was apparent that with Cleveland out, Florida had trouble stretching the field. As the game went on, the LSU defense crept closer to the line of scrimmage, and this Florida had a hard time driving the ball in the last two drives to actually go win the game. They have to make that extra point. Florida punts in the last series, forcing LSU to drive most of the field to kick a game winner. I don't know who was at fault for the missed extra point, but that has to be made. This was the third straight game without a turnover for this Gator team, and they still haven't recovered a fumble all season. I think Duke Dawson had about 5 opportunities in the game. I know Gardner had at least one. They have got to find a way to take the ball away. The ugly, as McElwain said above, third down conversions were horrific on offense and bad on defense in the first half. I'm not usually a referee guy, but they get the ugly award for this game. Too many times the plays went against Florida that were either 5,050 or I thought Florida should have been the beneficiary. There was one first down where LSU was absolutely trying to rush the play, where it looked like the receiver was half yards short and they allowed them to get the snap off. To the contrary, Florida tried to do the same earlier and they stopped play and reversed the call in favor of the Tigers. Give me equal treatment and no complaints from this guy. Scoring summary: first quarter LSU touchdown, 11 plays, 86 yards, 518 drive, aided by a few jet sweeps and a holding call on Gator senior corner Duke Dawson. LSU receiver Russell Gage ran a jet sweep untouched for 30 yards and the score. Score: LSU 7, Florida 0. Second quarter Florida field goal, 11 plays, 70 yards, 401 drive after getting sacked for 9 yards on the opening play of the drive. Big plays to Brandon Powell, 18-yard reception, Lamical Perrin 19-yard runs, and Malik Davis 25-yard run saw the Gators finish at the 8-yard line before getting the 25-yard field goal from Eddy Pineiro. LSU field goal, 9 plays, 54 yards, 336 drive. A sideline pass to Darius Geese for 15 yards on second 14 was the play 7 that sparked LSU on the drive. Tight end Foster Moreau rumbled for 21 yards after being hit short of a first down by Gator safety Nick Washington. Washington was hurt on the play and hard to leave the game. A pass interference call on Florida's C.J. Henderson looked like it could have been called on the LSU receiver, but wasn't. Duke Dawson nearly had 2 interceptions on 2 of the next 3 downs, and the Gators hold for a 38-yard field goal by Connor Culp. Score: LSU 10, Florida 3. Third quarter LSU touchdown, 9 plays, 75 yards, 404 drive. A big controversial 47-yard bomb by quarterback Danny Etling to receiver DJ Chark looked like it could have very well been an interception by Dawson. Instead, from the 17-yard line at that point, the Tigers need 4 plays to end with a 2-yard touchdown pass to tight end Troy Carter. Florida touchdown, 7 plays, 75 yards, 317 drive. A sideline pass to Freddie Swain for 12 yards, followed by a 23-yard tough run by Lamical Perrin. An added personal foul set the Gators up at the LSU 16. Felipe Franks would scramble for 12 yards and then Perrin would run it 2 plays later from the 2. Florida touchdown, 9 plays, 76 yards, 359 drive. Kadarius Toney ran for 22 yards to start the drive. Malik Davis would add a 21 and 2-yard run later in the drive that was capped off with a Perrin 1-yard touchdown run on third down. The heartbreaker was missing the extra point afterward. Score: LSU 17, Florida 16.